It'll be interesting because the Democrat lawmakers will clearly be zoning in or zeroing in on Russia and everything that Facebook, some of the compromising that went on in Facebook. But of course, conservative lawmakers, as we saw yesterday with Ted Cruz and Ben Sasse, they will indeed be going after Zuckerberg on this this bias, that this conservative, and in many cases conservative Christian bias that we're seeing on Facebook, and he's going to have to address some of that.
Aaron, I know we can talk to you about that. National religious broadcasters, you all have seen firsthand this censorship.
Yeah, we have, and we've been tracking it for some time, actually. At National Religious Broadcasters, we have a project called the Internet Freedom Watch, and internetfreedomwatch.org is the website for that. But if on that site, there's a chart where you can actually see censorship that has been happening. We've been charting it since 2010. Really, back with Chuck Colson, his Manhattan Declaration app, when it got pulled off of Apple, that's when we started charting this. And there's a lot of points on that chart where Facebook has pulled down content. Senator Cruz mentioned a number of those yesterday.
He was going after Zuckerberg.
And by the way, I'm really thankful for the senators taking some of those questions. We had suggested a number of questions, and every senator only has 5 minutes to do a question, and I was thankful that Senator Cruz took a lot of time on issues of speech. Senator Sasse really zeroed in on the issue of hate speech, because that really was an elephant in the room.
Right.
Senator Thune at the beginning, the chairman of the Commerce Committee, had mentioned hate speech to see what Zuckerberg would say.
Yeah, and Sasse said, "Can you define hate speech
for
us?"
That was the real elephant in the room. What is hate speech?
Basic question.
Yeah.
And he really couldn't quite answer it. He tried to zero in on violence and a few other things, but that's the problem.
That's the point.
That's the point. Not the, That's the point.
I appreciate that the members of Congress are trying to dig into this about information that we provide to these companies in some cases. In some case, a lot of the questions that came up yesterday are, well, what can you find from third parties or other avenues? And then I'm glad also that a number of senators, and I hope House members were asking about, well, what do you do with the content that we put on there that you may really like? Do you, or what about stuff you don't like? And what do you do with that? Do you take it down or not? And what are the rules on that?
Well, see, here's the thing, and I'm going to use this line, and I kind of like it as I pat myself on the back. A conservative conundrum. Thank you. And here's the conservative conundrum. More legislation. Normally, conservatives are not for more legislation. But in this case, with privacy, I mean, you're asking Congress to take action, but at the same time, it goes against conservative principles for the government to get involved. So where does the rubber meet the road here exactly? Conservatives are going to have to figure that out.
I thought that was interesting yesterday to see Senator Graham questioning Zuckerberg on the self-regulation and, can we really trust you to self-regulate when he is a staunch conservative?
Right.
And it does. It is exactly what you just said, the conservative conundrum. What do we want government to get involved in? Facebook is an international company too. Billions or millions of its users are around the world, and and so is Twitter. It's a very, very tough case.
It's complicated.
Yes.
Well, and that's I think that's a really important issue of how much does government get involved or not get involved. And as far as the censorship issue goes, I mean, there's the data privacy issue and there's the censorship issue. On this, all along, we've actually been asking Facebook and Apple and Twitter, all these companies, we've been asking them to do it themselves. This is in your interest to do this, and you should take advantage of the moment you're in to do the right thing. And as far as the censorship issue goes, we think, Senator Sasse asked a hard question, and Mr. Zuckerberg he stumbled a little bit and said it was a tough issue. Look, we have the First Amendment in this country. These companies are not bound by the First Amendment because they're private companies. But the First Amendment has been adjudicated over and over again in our Supreme Court. So why reinvent the wheel? Why not just look at what we have before us through case law, what's actually in the text of the Constitution, and use that as your guiding principle? It's good for the United States. Obviously we think it's a good policy that we try to spread that idea around the world. these companies should do the same thing.
Facebook, there are so many people watching us now on Facebook,
yes.
literally right now.
The irony of it all.
The irony of it all. And I would just say this to all of our Facebook friends out there, go ahead and let us know some of your experiences with Facebook. Have they censored any content of yours or that you know of? We'd be curious to know those stories, and we'll follow them up here on CBN News.
Let us know here, and also, I was going to say, Aaron, you all are taking complaints and that type of
That's
thing
right.
as well.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. On InternetFreedomWatch.org, there's actually a site on part on there that says your story. If you want to share your story, we're collecting those stories. We want to know. We want to know. I mean, I even got one this morning about someone who was having difficulty with Facebook. So please send those. People are looking at them. We are collecting them, and the more stories we have, the better. And again, I hope. I'm glad that you mentioned some of the good things that Facebook is doing, and really we should congratulate them on their innovation, but there is a problem here, and we need to deal with the problem, and ideally they're going to deal with the problem themselves, but if they don't, there's a lot of members of Congress who are interested, so they should be mindful
Aaron,
of that.
let me ask you about some of this conservative Christian bias that we're hearing on Facebook. Are there certain tangible examples that you can point to? I know you have that website out there, but there's got to be people want to understand this a little bit more. What is actually going on here specifically?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and we do have on our website, InternetFreedomWatch.org, we have a chart that actually lists a number of examples, and those are examples that we have researched and verified. There's lots more examples. I think there's a lot that we don't know about because people just let it go and say, well, that's just Facebook being Facebook. But Senator Cruz yesterday mentioned the Chick-fil-A takedown when Governor Mike Huckabee had said, hey, let's all go out and appreciate Chick-fil-A. This was following up on the Chick-fil-A founder saying his belief in marriage, and then a lot of people were attacking him for that. Well, Governor Huckabee's page magically went down for 12 hours at a very strategic time, so that's interesting. That was several years back, but more recently, actually just a couple weeks ago over Easter, it was very interesting that a Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio, a Catholic college, they had posted a number of ads to advertise some of their programs they do at the university, and one of them happened to have a very historic medieval crucifix, a cross, and that ad was pulled down. It was not allowed. Facebook came back and apologized for that later, but the whole thing is why did it get pulled down? They in their initial assessment, they actually said that it was shocking, sensational, or excessively violent. Yes, the cross is shocking and violent, and that's part of the Easter message. But why that? Why was that? And actually, the staff of the university asked the question. We've seen this in other places. Why was our ad targeted?
Right. And even Senator Bill Sass actually brought up the issue of. What is free speech? And Zuckerberg said that that's a very tough question to answer.
He said
Ben Sass,
define it.
define it. Yeah, Ben Sass asked, and he said that that's a very tough question to answer, and yet he was coming from the perspective of the pro-life movement, talking about our ads going to be taken down.
Yeah.
That's right.
In the future.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, if you're going to censor speech and you don't know what hate speech is and you can't define it, that's a problem.
Your CEO.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your CEO.
Well, we want to hear from you. If you all have been censored, please let us know in the comments.